On today in the Senate, a resolution to direct President Trump to end the war unless he has the approval of Congress. Republicans blocking it. Just yesterday, the House passed a bill providing $95 billion to pay for the war. It's unlikely to reach 60 votes to pass the Senate. In the meantime, the death toll is rising as this war approaches the 5-month mark. Joining me to talk about all of this is Dr. Paul Chabot. He's a retired naval intelligence commander as well as a White House senior advisor who served under both presidents Bill Clinton and George W. Bush. Has a really good idea about how things work in the rooms where all these things happen. And Dr. Chabot, it's good to see you. Let's begin with what happened just in the last few hours. We understand the 13th consecutive strike in Iran. It's some violence and some bombs went off just, I think, about an hour ago.
Yeah, look, we are into our 13th night where CENTCOM that controls our operations in that region have characterized it as degrading Iran's military. When you and I spoke a few nights ago, there was the hypotheticals of if the Houthis in Yemen, which is a proxy-based Iranian-funded network, would do anything in the other strait, which is just south of Saudi Arabia, and they attacked Saudi oil vessels. At the same time, I think we've really stepped up our military efforts, and that can be signaled by looking at our B-1 bombers. Our B-1 bombers are not stealth, but they are being deployed and activated in that area. They are very important because they can hold 24 2,000-pound precision-guided munitions. And to see them in the theater shows that the United States feels very safe and secure about the air theater, but also shows they're going to hit a number of targets. The U.S. has also sent a number of medics to Germany to deal with potential more casualties as well.
I do want to ask you a little bit about some of the things that are happening that everyone can agree on, and then some of the things that are being proposed. And perhaps this is President Trump just putting it out there as a threat. But he talked about bombing bridges. But there is international law that questions how you can go about doing that. It's only if it's used for military transport. Right. Talk for a moment about that.
Yeah, it is very clear. So in the military, every operation goes through an approval process of targeting. So a JAG is going to sign off, which is a military officer with legal background to make sure it confides with the rules and regulations of war. Now, for example, Iran did not follow those international rules. They struck a Kuwaiti water desalination plant in the past week. So many have called that a war crime. If we are targeting bridges or energy, it would be, according to the rule of law, if it is benefiting the military in Iran from transiting or doing any sort of operations, which is why he's saying that. The other part, though, that I think we need to look at is the Wall Street Journal today put out an article stating that Iran really does retain a lot of its industrial capacity. So certainly we're hitting targets along the coast, but that industrial capacity, a lot of it is inland. You know, Iran's a huge nation, which is why we're going to see more strikes inside of the country as well.
How viable is Iran right now? You know, you talk about the different capabilities that any country has at any given time. Drones, nuclear capabilities. What does it look like over there right now?
Yeah. Internally, their leadership right now is a mess. And the biggest signal from this is we have not seen their supreme leader at all on TV, in print. We had killed his father, and then the son, the current Ayatollah, has now been in charge, supposedly. So we don't know, at least publicly, who is in charge. Clearly, the National Guard runs their country. But do they still have nuclear capability? A lot of that is underground. A lot of it is unknown. But the other cause of concern is how many ballistic missiles they have been able to launch, not only in the months, but in the recent days, which shows that they do have a large stockpile. Those ballistic missiles can reach all of our bases in Europe and throughout the Middle East and have been directly responsible for the recent killing of our troops in Jordan.
Dr. Paul Chabot, it's always good to talk to you, even as we talk about tough stuff here, but we thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Leaders in Ypsilanti.